Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, before I get into today's video, let me just go over really quick how I pick a video. You guys, if you watch my channel, I've been getting up earlier and earlier. I actually was up at 1:30 a.m. this morning. I get up, I start going through all my different apps. And like for political stories, TMZ, Karen's, whatever's going on in the news. And if I see a story that gets a strong response from me, that I feel strongly about, maybe I'm happy or excited or angry or whatever, and it's something that happened recently and something I think you guys would be interested in. That's one of the ways I pick a video or something to talk about. And the last thing is if I have something to share, like an opinion, or most of the time it's experience. When I see a video and I feel strongly about it, and I think it's it's something that just happened, and it's something to talk about, and I have something in common with what's happening or with the person or whatever's going on in the video. I had a similar experience, and through my years of drug use, usually I've had a lot of experiences. That's what I'm going to talk about today, and the reason that's why I'm bringing this up, because first I'm going to talk about this barista being fired and how I think it could have been handled differently. I really, the more I watch this video, I usually watch it when I talk about videos like this, I watch it over and over and over again, trying to hear every word. So when I talk about it, I have a good opinion of what's happening in the video. And I think it could have been handled way differently than it was. This happened at the Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta Airport, Concourse D, and it's a barista. And apparently she just got fired. Her name is Shakaria Ellie. All right. And if you look, I've seen pictures. I'll have links all down below. I'll have links to the actual video on Twitter from Clown World, I believe it's called, the Twitter site or the X site. You could see her social media posts I saw, and she's a very short woman. This woman's got to be about 5'1". Now, apparently she got in an argument with another employee there over espresso shots. Apparently a customer wanted a shot, and the two employees, including Shakaria, got into an argument about espresso shots, and she was fired. Now, I don't know her past behavior. It seems like a small thing to fight. I guess it was a physical altercation. And the video starts where the managers are physically throwing her out of the store. And this is what I watch this video over and over again, and what I hear this woman that was just filed, Shakaria, what I hear her saying is, "Give me my stuff," and then I hear her say, "Give me my phone." Now, when I was fired back in 1997, there were no iPhones. We didn't have phones. We used the old ones on the wall. And but nowadays, if I lost my phone, I actually had a nightmare. I'd call it a nightmare where I was hiding my phone in my shoe and it caught on fire. It was a nightmare I had the other day. If I'd ever lost my phone, everything we have is in our phones, all our connections. It's like back in the old days, we used to memorize phone numbers. Now you don't, if you lose your phone, you lose all your connections. I swear to God, I could still remember phone numbers back from when I was 10 years old. I was just going to recite the phone number, but I know some of you will call it, so I won't do that. Okay, so it's getting physical. Now, this woman just wants to she's trying over and over again to get behind the counter. She was fired. She's told to leave. And there's two managers. There's a shorter Caucasian dude that's handling it very badly. I think he's the main manager. And then there's another taller employee. And she just keeps yelling, "Give me my stuff. Give me my phone." Now I'm thinking, why doesn't he just let her go get her phone and end this? But he won't let her behind the counter. I think this guy handled it so badly. And she's panicking. She wants her phone. I can understand that. Everything in her life is on our phones nowadays. And I gotta say, this is an amazing leap in this video, because she makes like she's walking away. She leaves the store briefly. She steps out of the store and then she spins around. She runs back into the store, And she just hits, she jumps up on the counter, like one foot on a lower shelf, next foot on a higher shelf, and then leaps over like a 5-foot counter with stuff on. I've seen these counters. Like if this is a regular barista, you know, these are big counters with all. I mean, I'm amazed. She lands on her feet on the other side. It's like something you'd see out of the Avengers or something. And she lands there, and you know, it gets physical. One part of the video that really bothered me, you know, she's swinging. What I see in this woman is fear. I mean, she just lost her whole life. She got fired from her job. All her money and everything, her future, you know, the insecurity of that. It's a terrible feeling getting fired. And on top of that, she doesn't have her stuff or her phone. They're throwing her out of the building, you know, and if they just let her go back there and get it. So she's swinging. She can't, from my perspective, she can't even reach she's short. She's trying to swing up. So she's not making, in my opinion, she's not making much of a contact. And one of these managers takes her and throws her across. I mean, he just chucks her across the room, and she just boom, goes tumbling across the floor. I give her credit because she gets right back up and comes running over. Okay. I think she finally gets her stuff. She finally gets, like, it looks like a coat, probably with her phone in it, and she leaves. This could have been handled so much better. I was thinking about this. If this situation arose, why not tell the employee, look, you're upset, just go home for the day. We'll talk about it tomorrow. All right? And tell her, look, you got the rest of the day off with pay. You know, how much could that be? 5 hours, let's say 5 hours at $20 an hour, $100. Pay her $100 for the rest of the day. Tell her, look, you know, take the rest. Don't even use the word suspended. Just say, look, you know, you're all emotional right now. I want you to go home and we'll think about it. We'll, you know, let everything is cool, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. And then before or right when she comes in tomorrow, if you still want, you know, if you're planning to terminate her then or before she gets in the store, or, you know, or when things are calmer. You know, that would have been the way to handle this. You know, the way this guy handled it, and he wouldn't let her just, you know, and it's obvious that's all she wanted was her phone. Because once she gets it, she calmly leaves the concourse. You know, I think this is handled so badly. Okay, now, like I said, I was only fired one time in my life. And the way my boss handled it and the way I handled it was totally different. I was a Teamster truck driver driving for a magazine company. This was when I was about 20, I was actually about 34 years old, 1997. And I was driving for a Teamster truck company, and I was using cocaine. I was every Wednesday we would get our paychecks, and I would go out and I'd spend my entire paycheck on coke and crack. And then we'd still have to work. Well, I'd get the paycheck Thursday. And they knew what I was doing. And every day I'd go out and we'd be worried about getting a urine. We had random urines, and you know, they figured out. I came in every Thursday or Friday all hungover, you know, and I didn't have any money right after I got paid. I hadn't slept all night, and one morning I walked in and they said, "Oh, it's your turn, Daryl. You're going for you're up for a random urine." And right there, I knew I was fired. Right there, I resigned myself. And I had worked there for 7 years. It was one of the best jobs I had. You know, I had worked my way up, and I was getting paid good at that point. And I came in the morning, the next morning after the urine, and they wouldn't let me go on the road. So I knew the urine came back dirty. I knew the urine was going to come back dirty because I had been out the whole night before. I had been awake the whole night before, probably using about at least an 8-ball of crack. And they told me I couldn't go out on the road. So, and they wanted me to just sit there and wait because I would go in early at 5 a.m., 4 or 5 a.m. because we, you know, delivered newspaper and magazines. And they wanted me to sit there and wait until the bosses came in at 8 just to be fired. You know, so I kind of confronted. I sat there for about a half hour, and then I just confronted the boss standing there. I said, look, you're just going to fire me anyway, right? You know, so just do it now and get it, you know, don't make me sit here for 3 hours and then fire me. And he said, I can't say, Daryl. I can't tell you that. So I walked out and I left. And I came back later. And I think it was, I don't know if it was the next day or later that afternoon. And I sat down with the personnel director. The head boss didn't even have the courage to fire me. He gave it to like the employee management person, and they didn't even offer me, like, there was no offer of going recovery, going into treatment or anything. They just said, you are fired. We're going to give you 2 weeks severance pay, and that's it. It was a job I had for 7 years, and I knew this was coming. I knew, I knew sooner or later I was going to throw the dice and I was going to come up. I used to go out in my truck and I would carry stuff with me just in case I had a drug test. It was the stuff that would flush your system, flush the drugs out of your system. And I used to, every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday after I would carry this stuff in my truck just in case. And I ran out of it. And then eventually I did get called for the urine. And I want to do a video about this because I saw this new product called a Whizzinator. And I'm going to do a video talking about this. I'm sure if you're younger, you've probably heard of this thing called a Whizzinator. I can't believe what people go through nowadays, and being clean and sober and looking at what people go through to try to pass the urine is just amazes me. How much more complicated people make their lives. But anyway, that woman fired me. And at that point, I didn't have any electricity in my apartment. I didn't have any phone. I got paid great money, but I spent every cent on crack every Thursday. And I didn't have a car. So I had to walk I walked 8 miles home, and they'd give me 2 weeks severance pay, and that was it. And I cashed that 2 weeks severance, and I spent about 3/4 of it on drugs. And I sat in my apartment. I almost OD'd that night, using it all by myself, sitting in my underwear in the middle of my bedroom, using all night. And I went for another job, and I got fired from that for a dirty urine too. So I had a lot. I'm going to talk more about that in another video. But anyway, that's one of the things I wanted to share with you guys. I was fired too, and I thought they could have handled it better. They could have offered me recovery. Because I went on and my drug use got so much worse at that. I hadn't even started using heroin at that point. I was only using crack cocaine, and then I used for about another almost 10 years, and it got so much worse. If I had been offered recovery at that point, it might have changed everything. They might have still had a good employee in me, and it might have helped me. It might have. I don't know if it would have worked or not. Maybe I needed to go through the next 10 years using. I don't know, in order to hit rock bottom. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Let me know what you think about this woman being fired. I think you're going to be handled so much better, especially when he throws her across the floor like that. I think he should be arrested. If he just told her to go home and come back the next day, we'll talk about it and let things calm down. It was handled so badly. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be back later with another video. I really want to talk more about this Whizzinator thing. I'm just amazed about this. I'll put some links down below about what a Whizzinator is in case you're curious. I'm going to do a video about that next. You guys have a good Wednesday.